There it is. It is goat time. It is goat time. Hello. It is a new type of stream for me. First of all, thank you for the follow. Mania Zone, appreciate it. Thanks for the follow. No one knows I'm streaming right now. It's working. I'm keeping this very secretive, and this is just for people who might want to follow along on Thursday. Thursday, I'm going to do Simventure Virtual Fly-In, presented by Pilotedge. Just to be clear, I have no affiliation whatsoever with Pilotedge or Simventure or Oshkosh, which is what Simventure is about. Simventure is creating the VFR approach to Oshkosh Air Show, and they started this in 2020 for obvious reasons, because they couldn't do the air show, so they decided to go ahead and make a virtual version of Oshkosh in 2020, and they have kept it going. So they're doing it again this year, which is awesome. Hey, how's it going? Hello. Red Heron. Oh, right on. Red Heron is here. Woo. Wow. Good. Fantastic. I mainly was expecting people to watch this, as a VOD, as a video on demand after I'm all done. Thursday and today are going to be quite different from my normal routine. Today I'm trying to go over as much as I can for my for a preview for myself and for people who might be interested in following along Thursday. You'll see that we can't do this as a group, but yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can actually sort of do a group flight if people just want to follow me. What can I do about it? So, Pilotedge is once again doing Simventure, and it's the real world approach. I'm just gonna turn that music down, because I won't have music when I do the approach. I'm getting nervous. I get nervous just talking about it, because this is it's a real world event. What they do is they have thousands of small airplanes and some larger airplanes coming in all at once. So it happens in I think a 6 or 7 hour period in the real world. And in the virtual world, it's a bit shorter. I will get into that as I go. But I'm just going over they're not calling it a NOTAM this year. They're calling it a notice. I don't know why the change. Maybe they didn't want it to be too close to real world stuff. But if you want an adventure, if you want to see what insane amounts of ATC is like, and you want to really get nervous in the sim, at least I do. I don't know why it makes me so nervous. You don't even talk to anybody, but it's a great adventure. So these are the special procedures effective July 14th through 17th. The 14th will be my first day doing it. I may do it more than once because it's really fun, but I may not be able to stream it more than once because it's a lot of work. No FAA or real world aviation affiliation. So don't think this is it's kind of weird because they say that, but one of the reasons they're doing this is to help real world pilots prepare themselves. But it's not a substitute, I guess they're saying, for real world training. So this is all the things in this NOTAM. It's a notice. It's a 31-page notice. I'll go quick as I can. To get this notice, you do have to sign up for Pilotedge. Let me take a quick look at something here as I'm staring at the notice. There it is, right there. So to participate, you do have to sign up for Pilotedge, which is a simulator ATC service. You do not have to spend any money. So they have a free trial membership that they have put in. Now, I don't know if they did this just for Simventure in 2020 or if they always have this, but you can sign up for free and try it out, basically. So that way you get the scenery for Simventure, and you can download the notice, which is kind of odd that you can't do any of this without signing up. But then again, they're promoting those services. It is very different than not very different. It's a little different than VATSIM in that they have a small amount of airspace. They're not all over the world. And there's some differences in the software they use and how they do stuff a little bit. I've not heard, the only real complaint I've seen, and I looked for complaints. I looked for what people thought of it. The only real thing I saw was that people didn't like the price. So you go there, you sign up, and it'll take you to the Simventure page. I'll put this back up. What am I doing? It'll take you to the Simventure page, which is here, right there. And you can go here without signing up and kind of look at it. You can watch this video. It'll explain it a little bit. They're using X-Plane, Microsoft 2020, and Prepare 3D this year. So the people that are flying with you could be in any of those. In 2020, I did it in X-Plane because in Prepare 3D, you couldn't see anything. You have to see visually a lot of landmarks. And I tried it in P3D, and I could not see them. In X-Plane, you could see them pretty good. I don't like how their planes fly, but that's another story. So this page tells you what it is and how to get started and how to do everything. And it's happening the 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th. These are the hours in Pacific time. So it's for me because I'm Pacific time. I don't know why they put it in Pacific time since it's happening on the East Coast, but that's okay. And these are the Zulu times. Probably your Saturday, Sunday are going to be the busiest if you really want a crowded sky. I will tell you why you might not want it super crowded as I go along here, as I get into this stuff. Because it's pretty nuts. Pretty nuts. So let's skip down here. And they have a disclaimer, copyrights. They want to make sure that it's clear that they're not part of EAA AirVenture specifically, and this is not EAA's notice. They don't want pilots to use this, which is duh. That's a good idea. I wouldn't. Yeah. So as a pilot, don't use the simulated. Game. The simulated notice is not what you use. Differences between the real world one and the imaginary one. So in the real world, obviously, you're going to use the real altimeter setting. In the sim, they're just going with clear skies and 29.92, so everyone has the same stuff. Because obviously the weather is different in different simulators. And for them to see you at the right altitude, because they're going to be seeing your plane, they have to know, they have to see everyone the same. No IFR aircraft permitted, and this was interesting. Obviously, it's an airport. IFR is allowed in the real world. Pilots may land and depart anytime during the published event times. In the real world, specific departure arrival are posted, including many times where the airport is closed to all GA traffic due to air shows. So I think that's a little, it's kind of too bad that they don't have some air shows. Maybe they'll incorporate that in the future. Formation flights are not permitted in Simventure. Obviously, they are permitted in the real world. Simventure only allows aircraft with a max takeoff weight of 18,000 pounds or less. All aircraft are permitted. Well, if you know about Simventure, you know that all aircraft are permitted because it's the biggest air show in the world. I keep saying this. Someone check me on that. But I'm pretty sure it is the biggest air show in the world. All pilots must file a VFR flight plan. And now this is interesting, and this has to do with VFR rules. So in the sim, they want to know who's coming, how many planes they're going to be dealing with in the sim. Real world, VFR flight plans are not required. So in the real world, you're going to show up to the Fisk approach, which is what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about three approaches. The Fisk approach, the helicopters, which is new this year, and the water, what am I trying to say? where the water planes land, the float plane base. All of it's pretty good scenery. I noticed, a quick note, I noticed in their video, their promotion video, I did take note that all of the stuff is this sim. All of the stuff, I mean, the sim that I do, the sim that the Flights with Joel people do, all the stuff is the Microsoft Flight Simulator. So I just thought that was interesting. NOTAM is now called Notice. This chain mirrors EAA's change. Oh, well, that's why they changed it, because EAA changed it. Jets are now permitted at Simventure, but must have a max takeoff weight of 18,000 pounds or less. Helicopters are now permitted, which I was just saying. Refer to the helicopter section. Very exciting. Very exciting stuff. So, Pilotedge Simventure 2022 notice. These are the definitions. And obviously, if you're going to do this, you have to really get familiar with this stuff and practice it before. If you're going to do it Thursday, look this stuff up. Practice it before Thursday. I practiced. I've done it before, and I'm practicing. Really get familiar with all the things they're talking about here. Basically, what you're going to do is go from Green Lake to a little town called Ripon. At this town, you have to be at 1,800 feet and 90 knots at this little town. And you have to follow the railroad tracks half mile behind the closest plane. If you get closer than half a mile, or you lose your altitude, you get too slow or too high, they're going to ask you to turn around. They're not going to say, just make a 180. They're going to say, start over. So if you're way up here at Pickett or you're almost to Fisk and you are really getting close to the aircraft in front of you, or the aircraft behind you is really getting close to you, they might ask you to turn around and start over. So you got to be a little bit precise. It's probably one of the hardest VFR approaches that you will do. So this event will simulate the Fisk and Warbird arrivals into Oshkosh. Upon landing, pilots may taxi to parking or taxi back for takeoff or depart to set up for another approach. So you have your choice. You can actually park and watch, which is what I'm going to do, on live on Twitch. We will watch a little bit. Hopefully it'll be busy. And then I'm probably going to pop out and do a different, grab another aircraft, which means I'll have to make another flight plan and come back in a different way. Not a race, obviously. That's kind of what I was talking about. You want to give yourself ample time. It takes you a lot longer than you think. And I will begin to show you why by the end of the stream. You'll see why it takes so long. For one, it takes some planning, but also it's that little going to those three towns takes a little longer than you think at 90. You may fly piston, turboprop, fixed wing aircraft capable of maintaining 90 knots or greater. Jets with max takeoff weight of 18,000 or less, formation flights, mass arrivals are not permitted. So don't, I don't have enough people for a mass arrival, so we don't have to worry about that. Required simulator flight configuration. So this is all about how to set up your sim. You need to have the scenery. If you don't have the scenery, you're going to be lost. You're going to be lost. Weather settings to clear skies. So your pressure is going to be 29.92. Do not use real weather. Simulator must be running at least 20 FBF. Now, if your simulator is not running at least 20, you will probably get a CTD with this scenery trying to do this, most likely. And also, it's going to be hard to see the planes and for other planes to see you. You'll be jumping all over the sky. That's the reason for this. So if it's not a 20, turn down your graphics settings. Lower frame rates will impact the experience of other pilots. Test your FPS with the scenery, etc., etc. Depending on your simulator and hardware, maintaining a specific altitude can be difficult, much harder than in a real airplane. This is true. This is actually true. If any one of you are not real pilots or have not flown in a real plane, it is not as hard. Real planes are very stable. So once you get them trimmed out, and a lot of the planes have flown in the sim are becoming that way. They're getting more and more that way. So once you trim it out, it's going to gain or lose 10 or 20 feet, not 50 or 100. kind of the Asobo planes and the planes that aren't set up right, they jump all over the sky. So they recommend that you use your autopilot. You will have to disengage your autopilot because at one point, when they see you, when they recognize you, they're not going to call your name. They're not going to ask you to respond to them. They're just going to say, rock your wings. And it's so exciting when you realize that it's you that's rocking the wings. So for us, for MS Flight Simulator 2020 users, terrain level of detail must be set at 60 or higher. And I hope you're able to do that anyhow. Building set at medium or higher. I checked my settings are much higher than this. These settings will allow you to see the necessary objects and such. Both minimum requirements are shown below. So if you don't know where those settings are, it's nice that they do this for you. They show you exactly where they are. Pilots will see other aircraft around them, but due to flight simulator limitations, pilots may not see other aircraft as the type colors in which they're actually connected. Should we make that a timed message on my Twitch? I'm curious if Red Heron is still here. Should we just make that a timed message? Pilots will see other aircraft around them, but due to flight simulator limitations, pilots may not see the other aircraft as the type colors in which they actually connected. If you're new to multiplayer flying, maybe you don't know this. I've found that to be true in every simulator I've ever flown. But a good idea, yes. I can copy and paste that. I'm going to do that. Ryan Hare, hello. How are you doing, Ryan Hare? Good to see you. I'm doing a very unusual thing today. I'm going over the notice for the Simventure, which I'm going to be doing live Thursday. I'm going to be doing my best effort at doing the Fisk approach live. So this is a pop-up stream, I call it. I'm doing a pop-up stream. Already had someone follow, which is very nice. And so that's what we're up to. For the best visual experience, pilots should open the pilot client settings and ensure their default model is a Cessna Skyhawk G1000 by Asobo. So what they're talking about there is they have a client that you have to download, which you will see in the instructions for setting all this up. You go in the settings of the client. Oh, and you can't see that. Hold on. Let me add something here. Ryan Hare. I love the name, by the way. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Where's my thing? What am I looking for? I'm looking. Oh, it's not on here. One moment. One moment. This is also a chance to check out technical stuff that I might or might not need. That's not what I want. Where is it, buddy? Oh, you can't see it. Why can't I see? Oh, I see why. Hold on. I'm doing the same thing 3 times. Oh, bugger. So do I have to turn that off? Yes, no, maybe. Oh, I cannot get the actual software to show up for me. Oh, I know why. It's a whole nother window. Okay, that doesn't matter. The software looks like this. So when you go into the Pilotedge client, it's going to look like this. And if the Cessna Skyhawk G1000 is showing up, then your model matching should work for everyone to see you. You know, whether or not it does is anybody's guess. They have backups for this, which is kind of cool. You're going to tell them what you are so that when you're flying towards them and they see a Bonanza, because you're going to put in what you are, they're going to tell you, Red 182, rock your wings. So it works. Strictly VFR, request for IFR denied. There's no overlying TRACON coverage, therefore flight following won't be provided. So a lot of people are doing this from a long way out. Hey, A. Roberts, how are you? Thought about doing also, but this would be my first. Not sure if I should. Want to fly the TBM, but not used to Warbird. Yeah, and that does add a lot of complications to it. If it's your first try, you can fly the TBM on the Fisk approach, actually. It would be difficult. But if it's your first time, think about going with a smaller plane. You want something with 2 radios. That's a big one. But just think about, because you can do it as many times as you want. And not only can you do it as many times as you want, but this year, for every landing and takeoff at Oshkosh, you will get entered to win a prize. So you could win hardware and stuff. So don't be shy. It's here for us to get involved, to have fun. But try it in maybe a 182, a 172, just something a little slower the first time. You know, you're definitely you probably will want to do it again when you see how exciting it is. Once you do it, it's so fun. Have plenty of fuel on board for several holds, consequences, and go-arounds, and don't be rushed for time. So a half a tank of fuel in a 172 is going to give you plenty of time, because it's less than an hour flight, or it should be. I start pretty close is what I do. And there's even a feeder airport. Expect a lot of traffic around you. Moving Mac applications such as ForeFlight for phones and tablets are encouraged to help maintain situational awareness. I depend on my eyes. So I don't really use moving maps. It kind of makes it more fun if you don't have it. But in the real world, you would probably be, I most likely you would have ForeFlight, and you would be able to see where the other planes are. And you know their altitude, because they're supposed to be at 1,800 feet and 90 knots. Or if you cannot maintain 90 knots in the air, 90 knots, you fly the same approach at 2,300 and 135 knots. So that is also allowed on the Fisk approach, the VFR, standard VFR approach, without going to, Prior to connecting to the network, file a VFR plan. Now, this is not a big deal. It's very simple to file the flight plan. You just want to decide like what airport you're going from, and I'll get into that when I get a little further down. Only one VFR flight. Oh, this is nice. If you're just going to do it several times in the same plane, you only need to file the plan once per day, unless you're changing to a helicopter or a float plane or something like that. And then you'll have to file again. When I show you the helicopter plan, I hope you laugh. The aircraft color in your flight plan is what you will need to listen to. So that's the big one. They know the color of your aircraft by the flight plan and what you enter into the software. So that's kind of nice. That's really helpful for both people. The thing is, what I did was I wrote it down to make sure I remembered, because when you're getting 3 miles from Fisk, there's probably, if you're 3 miles from Fisk, there can be 6 aircraft in front of you, and there could be a couple behind you. So they are calling out aircraft pretty fast. It's pretty fast. And so you want to remember what you are pretending to be in. I mean, what you're playing, the color of your plane. You can always just look outside. Imagine getting all the way to Oshkosh only to realize your radios aren't working. Now, this is a big one, and I'm going to do this. Before you depart for Oshkosh, try the self-radio check. I had a lot of problems with the radios this time around. I didn't have any problems last time. You're going to tune your COM 1 active and COM 2 active to 123.45. You're going to select COM 1 and 2 on receiving. Only have one radio, click here. Well, if you only have one radio, what they say is jump in a plane with 2 radios, check your comms, go back into the plane with 1 radio. That's the advice. If you are pretty confident, if you've done Pilotedge for a while, you obviously don't need to check your comms. But if you're new, you really want to make sure they work. Mine didn't work the other day. I tried a flight just in my local area from a non-towered airport to a towered, got all the way to the airport on the ground, and ground couldn't hear me. Everyone else could hear me. The tower could hear me. But ground said I was breaking up, and I figured out why. So let's go ahead and switch to that now. I am going to turn the browser off. Now, why do I still have that up? Oh, I see why. I have... Oh, that's wrong. Hold on. I'm checking something out. Oh, yes, that's what I got. That's correct. Everything's good. So we're going to turn this off. Oh, no, we're going to turn that off. Now I get it. Sorry, I had too many buttons pushed. If you have one radio, couldn't you use a friend to help see if it works? You could use CTAF at the airport. That's not a bad idea. You could use CTAF at the local airport, but it's kind of disruptive within the Pilotedge network. But you could do it that way. They just want to make sure this is for people, I guess, with no friends. But you could definitely check your radios that way. So I am going to actually jump in the sim and do the beginning part. So I made a flight plan that will not really be relevant once I jump into it. But this gets me started. I like to start way out here. This is Oshkosh here. That's the airport. That's the little town where they're going to recognize that you are alive and you're at the right altitude and you're going the right speed. If you get to here and any of those are wrong, they're going to kick you to the curb and you have to go back to here, at least, unless it's really busy, and then they're going to put you on a hold out here. So these 3 lakes act as hold points for the thing. Oh, I'm in the wrong. Actually, this is easier to show. I'm going to just show the radio procedures in this, and I can also tell you what went wrong. I can explain why no one could hear me, why I was having such a huge problem with my radios. It's pretty funny, and it's going to be a bit annoying when I'm live. I might have to turn my mic down. You don't need a good mic for this to work at all. Any mic will do. You don't need mic is for streaming. Oh, whoops. Oh, I'll be darned. Well, that's okay. I can push ready to go. Hold on 1 second. I thought this would be on the runway and running, but apparently I've put myself at a parking spot. So I'm going to say ready for takeoff to save us time. And this will just take a moment. Oops. Oopsie. Now, do I need the sound much? Yeah, I'll just leave the sound in that area. I don't need that. And as soon as this gets started, so all this is done before loading in and everything is done before you jump on the network. You can't test your radios until you're on the network, but it's loading in, setting the weather, make sure it's set. I never have it to clear skies, but you're going to be on clear skies so that everyone is the same. It's going to be daytime. What is real time over there in Oshkosh? Yeah, that's probably okay. But you want to give yourself a lot of time so you can have a lot of fun. You can do it over and over. Because once you get there, taking off is just as fun as landing was. Taking off is just as fun. So now I got to remember that on the Cessna radios, because I don't have a radio stack, it's a bit of a pain in the butt. But on these, that's not what I want. On these, it's a lot easier. Because on the audio panel, you can just jump in here and change it. And what did I say? 123.45. I'm pretty sure that's correct. Now let me double check here. Oh, I know what I have to do. I have to drop that. 123.45. So I don't think, where did I go? I don't think you would ever do this. All you would get is feedback in an actual plane. I'm pretty sure if you did this. But here it's not bad. So you put them both on the same frequency, and they were saying that this audio doesn't work, but I've been getting it to work. So then you want to make sure, back to the audio panel, you want to make sure that 1 and 2 are set to receive, so you can hear both radios. And then, actually, now I jump into the software and connect to the network. as soon as I find where I connect to the network. I'm looking at the software that unfortunately you can't see. All of that's set. I might have to restart it. I may have to restart my software. One moment. I think I do. Because I lost the window. Hold on, I'm just fumbling around behind the scenes a bit. Yes, I lost my audio window, so I'm going to have to do that again. So I have to exit the Pilotedge program and then restart it. Pilot Client app. Pilotedge. So now in my browser, it looks like so. So this is what you have when you first jump in. It opens the browser for you, and it gives you all this information. There it is. And so when you go to connect, you have to have mode C to do this as well. When you go to connect, this is my call sign, and that's what I'm in. I already have this put in, but you'll put that in. And then on livery, you'll put the color of the aircraft. I'm pretty sure this one is white. Or white and blue, whatever it is. And then you will connect to the network. So that's how I know I'm connected. I am in. Now we will go back to the helicopter. Back to the sim. I thought this would take a long time. It's easier to explain than to actually do it. So now I have both my radio comms on. I should be able to hear myself. Radio check. This is working way better today. Oh, that is so awesome. So the other day when I used this, it wasn't this good. How about out here? Oh, it's off. It's all working great. So that's how you do your radio check. Now you know when you're in the sim, you can probably turn the radio way down. Was that super loud? This is another thing I'm doing right now. So I'm doing a little checking. Did the radio sound super loud above my voice, or was it fine? What I had to do the other day is I had to get way up here for the radio to work. But today, working perfectly. So if you have a problem, especially if you have a headset mic, eat the mic. Get way up there and eat it. And then that could solve a lot of the problems, because if you're breaking up and you've done all the other troubleshooting and you know it's good, then just get way up on the mic. And that should work, right? It should work. So back to, so that's the radio check. And get that back up there. There we go. So that's this whole thing is explaining what I just did. That's all that it does. So it's showing you the different radios and different types of radios. You can begin your flight at any airport and fly to Oshkosh. Load up your simulator on the ramp at your departure airport, not on a taxiway runway. Then connect to Pilotedge. And that's kind of true for all online flying. You really want to not load on the runway, which I often do. ATC will only be provided outside of Pilotedge's everyday area at Oshkosh and Fond du Lac. Treat all other airports as non-towered when you depart and utilize CTAF frequencies. So Pilotedge uses the real-world flight radio procedures. So if you're at an untowered airport, figure out what the CTAF is and announce. That's what they want you to do. It's hard to see airplanes because there are no labels when you're on this software. You don't have any labels. So it's hard to see them. So definitely let people know what you're doing. If you're planning a lengthy flight originating at an airport within the yellow shaded portion below, we'll be flying in Pilotedge's everyday coverage area and will be expected to make contact with appropriate controllers until leaving the yellow shaded area. For more information about coverage areas, check with them. So if you're going to leave from here and fly all the way across on the network, then you need to be in touch with the controllers. Now you can fly all the way across off Pilotedge, and then just hook up when you get there if you want. I'm going to jump in right near the airport as I was showing you. So they're just letting you know that if you're in the Pilotedge network and you're on the network, you need to be talking to the controllers that you would normally talk to. Pilots are encouraged to remain above 3,500 until joining on arrival. Do not interfere with traffic already established. The way I was practicing that was I was practicing coming in at 1,800. So if you're headed towards the lake on the approach, they want you to stay above the altitude until you get there. It's like a really long pattern. Fisk arrival to Osh, only for piston aircraft capable of comfortably maintaining 135 knots or less. Turboprops, jets, and aircraft unable to maintain 135 shall fly the Warbird arrival. So that's a whole different arrival. I'm just going to be talking about the Fisk, helicopters, and maybe the pond, the float plane base. Listen to ATIS on 159. Now this is fun because this does change. Listen to ATIS on 125.9 and note runways in use. It should be done at least 60 miles or so. I'm not going to be 60 miles away. I need to listen to that on the ground or as soon as I take off or immediately after departure. These notice procedures are subject to change at real time. Any late changes to the notice will be in the ATIS, so you need to be up to date. All exterior aircraft lights on. I'm used to flying that way because of our group flights. Transponder set to Alt Mode C and squawking 1200. Now this is when I forget because I don't use the radios that much. So if you're flying actual VFR, this is also true. It's the same as a real VFR flight. Altimeter set to 29.92, monitor Fisk approach 120.7. So once you've got the ATIS, you've got that figured out, you know what runways they are using or not using, then you're going to monitor Fisk approach and you're going to start probably hearing a lot of chatter, a lot going on. It gets intense and it's really fun. This procedure starts by using one of the ATC designated transition and requires visual navigation supplemented by GTS waypoints, which is what I'm doing. Pilots then follow a railroad track from Ripon to Fisk. ATC at Fisk controls traffic flow and assigns OSH landing runways and approach paths. Approaching and beginning the procedure, the ATC designated transition starting point, page 9. Approach the designated transition at 90 knots and at 1,800 feet. If you can't do that, 135 knots at 2,300. Pick an aircraft of similar speed and altitude to follow. So if you see other aircraft, you want to follow a half mile in trail, which obviously is a half mile behind the aircraft in front of you. Try not to get closer. If you start getting closer, slow down a little. If you get too close, they will have you turn around. They don't want you to do S-turns to follow another aircraft. Instead, you have to break off and proceed back to the starting point of the procedure. And so here is the procedure. Green Lake Ripon. This is basically the beginning. From this area, you have to start monitoring the Fisk approach and listen to the arrival. Oh, can do just hosted the stream with 24 viewers. Wow. I hope you read the description first. Hello, Oh, can do. What is going on? Thank you for the raid. Quite the surprise. I'll catch you up. I'm doing a pop-up stream. Senor Pablo. How are you? This is the raid. It is indeed. Hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Yes, Oshkosh pre-flight. We're about a third of the way through it. We've gone through how to check your radio. We're down the page all the way to the Fisk arrival transitions. We're going to go through the Fisk arrivals. Hello. Hey, Crowbar. How you doing? Ryan Ray, what's happening? Oh, second Ryan of the day. Welcome. Thanks for jumping in. Hope you had a good flight. I know with OCanDo you probably did. We'll be on Saturday and Saturday. Oh, nice. I'm planning on doing it Thursday first because I'm going to stream it and it's already intense. So I'm adding a stream on top of that. So I will be on, I'm hoping Thursday is the slowest. My plan is to do 3 shots at it. The Fisk approach, which I did in 2020, It's a lot. It is a lot. And I haven't been keeping up with my radio procedures. I do have a PPL, so I know radio procedures, but I haven't been keeping up. So I'm practicing. I've been practicing for a few days and jumping on the radio and trying to remember, even though mostly you listen, but they might tell you to say something, they might speak to you, and you have to be alert and realize, oh, they want me to confirm that. Oh yeah, okay. And also, if you go to Fond-du-Lac, that is a towered airport, and you'll have to talk to people. So yeah, I'm going to do the Fisk, then I'm going to do the helicopter approach, which I still chuckle every time I say helicopter approach, and then I might do the water landing approach, also fairly simple. So you're going to start at Green Lake or so. There's Green Lake. This map is really hard to see. There's Green Lake. So I will be coming in actually from the south and joining Green Lake. If there's too many aircraft, they're going to have you hold, and you will have to do a loop. If there's a hold at Green Lake in the past, you have been required to do at least once around Green Lake before you proceed to Ripon. Canadians, if you're going with us, watch this. Yes, it's true. This is helpful for everyone, and I'm hoping the VOD will also be helpful, because if you just jump in on the day, you'll spend the whole time trying to figure this out. So where is the there was something else. Let me see how this works. Does that come up? Yes, it does. So this is so much easier to see this way. So much easier to see. I'm going to start here, right about there. Thank you for the follow, Rebos. Did I say that right? Rebos? I hope so. I'm going to start here. There's Green Lake. So much easier to see on a satellite poster. It's a little bit hard to see as you approach us. Thank you for the follow, Citizen for 2. Thank you very much. Welcome to the flights. Cheers, everyone. Every time you open your mouth, you might get a follow. Now I lost myself. Okay, so this keeps going back to my plane. Stop centering on my plane. Turn that off. There we go. Your approach starts here at this little town called Ripon. So that's what they're showing you right there. So at right about here, as you come off Green Lake, either from a hold or you're just coming off Green Lake, you want to be at 90 knots and 1800, unless you're in a faster aircraft, then it's 2300 and 135 knots. So keep it good. Can you explain the significance of the lakes? Sure, the lakes are what they're using for VFR waypoints, basically, and holds. So Green Lake, and I believe they use Rush Lake and Marquee as hold. It's going to be clear. It's going to be clear as I go. They're gonna talk about that coming up. So that's Green Lake is where basically you got to be ready to follow half mile behind another aircraft. So that's kind of the significance. Because they're big and easy to see, I'm going to be flying the Cessna 182 to start. And then I'll have to decide which helicopter to go with. But I'm going to go with the Coronado Cessna 182 because I just want to do something besides the 172. But all lake are approaches and holds, yes. So that's basically what they are. Thank you. All lakes are the approaches and holds. And they're easy to see. They're easy to do. If you've never done this, the first year I did it in 2020, I could only use X-Plane. I don't think I had Microsoft Flight Simulator yet. So in X-Plane, I used the 172. I'm really happy I did, because you don't want to be thinking, well, as long as hopefully you're familiar with the 172. If you're not, something you're familiar with and that has 2 radios. That's the big one. You like the plane, you know how to fly it, you've landed it everywhere, and it's got 2 radios. That's the best way to go. So I just jumped up to the 182 for something a little different this year. But the radios work, and it actually lands. It's almost, but the way that they have done the flight model, which may not be quite right, but the way they've done it, it's almost a stall plane. So we could land real quick. Puckaway Lake transition GPS waypoint. So that is before Green Lake. So if you're coming in from further out to the west, you're coming in from the west, then that's something that they might use as a hold, and that's another transition that you'll be using. Endeavor transition. So that's way out there. If they're using Endeavor transition, it's going to take a minute. Used during periods of extreme high volumes of traffic. I haven't had to do that yet, but you never know. Each year it gets bigger. This transition starts at the city of Endeavor, 47 nautical miles southwest of Osh, and is located over the junction of Interstate 39 and the railroad tracks north of the city. Proceed from this point to the southwest corner of Puckaway Lake. So, if everything is going well, in other words, we've got a lot of people participating, then they want you to be way out here at Endeavor. They want you to start there. That is the beginning of the Fisk approach if you've got a ton of traffic. So it means you're going to be seeing traffic from here all the way to Osh. And you're going to be trying not to get too close to the other aircraft because, as I keep warning people, if you get too close, they might send you back. They just might. It just might. So, yes. That's why it's good to start now. Literally, if you're thinking of doing this, download that scenery and do it a few times. Go look at this notice and go and just do it. Just try it. ATC may instruct aircraft to head direct to Ripon, which is always fun. I've had that happen once, I think, and so it does happen. We'll see. Regardless of transition, maintain at least half-mile in-trail from similar type aircraft in front of you. I almost had to turn around once because some Yahoo was flying right next to me. So it may not be your fault. Somebody else was right on my wing, and I thought they were going to have us both turn around. But I think he finally backed off enough, or I backed off, one or the other. I may have just cut the throttle and waited. So you have to be real cognizant of that. And you can use, if you have software for aircraft that it sees other aircraft in the air, you can use that. It's easier, ForeFlight or something like that. Unable to, let's see, regardless of transition, maintain half mile. If you can't do 90 knots, go to 135 and 2,300. And if you fly at this altitude and speed, which means you're in a slightly faster aircraft, you have to, if you can maintain 90 knots, they would prefer you did that. But if you can't, there's way less people up here. There's way less people at 2,300. You'll need to slow to 90 knots once advised by ATC. Utilize full flaps if you have to. Aircraft at 1,800 do not need to sequence themselves with aircraft at 2,300. Very important point. If you see somebody flying above you, it's hard to tell sometimes, but if they're not, they'll tell you if you're too close to an aircraft. So you may see other aircraft, and it won't even be, you won't even have to worry about it at all. It won't even be a thing. Sequence yourself single file with others who are at your same altitude at Ripon. And since there are new people here, I'll say this again. When you are on the Pilotedge network, there are no labels. So it's like real world. You, half a mile from an airplane, you can see it, but you can't see it that well. You can see it. And so you have to be really pretty aware of what's going on. Part of it, you'll hear how busy it is and how many aircraft there are, but you really look around, because if people aren't, you're going to follow the railroad tracks on the approach. So if some people are off, they might get too close to you. That's why they keep saying this. You must have a half-mile trail. They say this over and over. Do not overtake other aircraft. No S-turns to follow. If you're too close in front of you, break off the approach and circle back to the transition. So that's the bummer right there. That's what hurts. And sometimes they'll just ask you to do this. It's just part of the game. That's why you got to have gas in your tank. You don't want to go out there with no gas. Oh, I just realized my sim is making a lot of noise. Let me do that. There we go. Apologies. My simulator was sitting there running. I was sitting in the helicopter to show the radio procedures to make sure people understood that. If possible, lower your gear prior to reaching Fisk. Oh, that's interesting. I always fly with fixed gear, so I didn't know that. So this is Ripon. And from Ripon, you need to be at 1,890 knots, and you're going to follow these railroad tracks where there's two things that are hard about that. One is there's a road right next to the railroad tracks, which we can see in the sim a lot easier. So if you're in Microsoft Flight Simulator and you're not using X-Plane, this railroad track is hard to see. It's just a line on the ground. Once you get there, if you try it a few times, you'll see it. And then when you're at Pickett, you got to start thinking, Viper Strike, hello. You think it needs to be emphasized how serious they take the event. And that's true. That's a really good point, OCanDo. They take it serious because they're the real dudes. These are not some volunteers that they picked out of, hey, you want to do this? These are the Oshkosh folks. And they know that some of these people are probably going to come to Oshkosh. They also see the Fisk approach. I think I'm not 100% certain about this, but I think they're very close to like 100% accident-free record, if not total accident-free. But that doesn't mean they don't see accidents every single year at the holy mackerel. It's Two-Tone Murphy. What a time to be talking about. Yeah, if you're not comfortable, don't come. What's up? What's up, Mr. Two-Tone Murphy? Holy mackerel, cheers. What is going on? Oh, I have to follow. I do have procedures if Two-Tone ever drops by. Moose Fan, what's going on? Uh-oh. I messed it up. Okay. I don't necessarily need these for a moment. Hey guys, what is happening? the Gitna, hello, what's up? Welcome, Raiders. This is unbelievable. I'm just going over procedures. I'm not even flying today. Welcome everyone. Thank you for dropping in. It's true. Thank you for the follow, the Gitna. Thank you very much, Ryan Ray. Yes, nice animation. Hello, Annalisa. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see everyone. We're in about the middle. Oh, thank you for the follow. BK 12,000, is it? BK 12,000K. Thank you for following. Wow. This is really funny. Is it Armin Addict? Thank you for the follow. That is really awesome. Rated big time. Woo, Two-Tone, what is up? Two-Tone was on my podcast, by the way. If anyone wants to hear all the behind-the-scenes stuff about Two-Tone, you can check out my podcast, which I don't have a link for because I don't have my people here. I just did this off the wall, totally off the wall. Will that work? Yeah, there it is. There's a podcast. Anyway, nice. Oh, I do have people here. Red Heron, thank you so much. Thank you for the follow. Gunho Guy 3, thank you for the follow. Thank you very much. Welcome to the pop-up stream. And the reason I'm doing this pop-up stream is because I'm going to do the Fisk approach on Thursday. Now, I might do it a couple other days as well, but I stream on Thursday normally, so that is my stream. Thank you. He's got my back all the way. Whoo! Nice to have people. Nice to have a wingman, for sure. So we're about halfway through the Fisk arrival. I've been jumping back and forth between things. We are now at the final base. This is like your final approach where you're going Ripon to Fisk. If you've not done the Pilotedge Simventure before, and I understand there might be an extra Simventure going on. I heard Colonel Fork saying something about possibly another Simventure type event. But anyway, I'm just talking about the Pilotedge version happening Thursday through Sunday. It is the real world. Oh, and we were saying they are serious because they're the real people. These are the actual controllers that work the Fisk approach, and they are serious but friendly. From what I've found, I mean, it's nothing to be scared of, but they will turn you around if you don't do it right. If you don't have it together, they will ask you to leave. Is what they will do. So funny to do this without headphones. I don't need the headphones. I'll just wear the hat anyway. So there it is. You're going to follow these railroad tracks. Now, let me show it to you. So from Ripon, this is where we are, if anyone wants to catch up. We've gone through most of the notice, changed from NOTAM to notice as per the actual Oshkosh event. And we were all the way to the final Fisk approach. So on the map, it is so much more clear if you look at it on Google Maps. We are now here. But, well, on here, it's the same thing. You can barely see the railroad tracks, even in the real world. So you're at 1,800 feet. This is the road. There's going to be some smokestacks that they have added to the sim as part of the scenery. So you see the smokestacks right there. It's right there. These line you right up with the railroad tracks. So if you are on the right of the smokestacks and you're lining up with the road, get over here. Get over here fast. 1,890 knots. And then it gets even harder as you get up here. There is a spot. Let me go back out here. Right there. Right there at Pickett. The road and the railroad tracks come together. And you have to stay. They will ask you. They will keep telling you. They will remind you. Get over the railroad tracks. Then you'll pass over this runway, which you barely even see because you're concentrating on the railroad tracks. And there's Fisk. So somewhere between here, this area, and here, they're going to say, Scruffy Tam, what is going on? Hello, good to see you once again. Once again. See you. I saw you in Two Tones chat. Now we get to see you in my chat. Whew, what a day to do a pop-up stream. It's a popular day. Off the cuff. Not off the cuff. It's well planned because I'm planning. For those of you who don't know Flights with Joel, this is not normally what I do. I don't usually talk on the radio. I don't usually plan. Well, I plan, but, you know, our plans go awry sometimes. We do a lot of low and slow, which is what this is. This is low and slow. That's what it's all about. So outside of Fisk here, they're going to say, red Cessna 182, rock your wings. So you have to quickly turn the autopilot off and rock your wings. And you have to do it hard. You have to really yank. You have to yank like that so that they can see you. Probably even more so in a sim than in the real world. But in the real world, too, they want you to give it a good rock so they can see what you're doing. So back to the approach. This is fun. This is fun, all these people. So you're following the railroad tracks, and this document is very blurry. 90 knots, 104 mph. Oh, well, that's interesting if you're flying a 170 or something. We talked about the radio stuff, but if you're on a single radio plane, which you can do, it is possible. It's just a lot of knob turning. Don't break your wings off. And yeah, most airplanes won't, but it's only a simulator. So here's some better. This is actually from the sim, and I'm using the notice for Microsoft Flight Simulator. So this is from the actual simulator, and this is exactly what I was talking about. You can see the silos, but as you can see, it's not real obvious these are railroad tracks. And I haven't been at 1,800 feet in an aircraft for a while, but I think it's more obvious, especially when they have trains on them in the real world. And see how they look a lot alike? The railroad track just looks like a very thin road. So don't go there. And that's the beginning of your approach. And yeah, there's all these cool landmarks to study and to do. And I'm not trying to, I'm probably maybe making it sound scarier than it is, but it's really fun. It is a really fun exercise. And it's fun because once you do it, well, it's like flying those 737s. It's like all you go through to get the 737 in the air. It's similar to that, except you're in a small plane with a whole bunch of other small planes and real controllers. So then at Fisk, they're going to tell you to do one of two things. This is showing you Fisk. This is when you get to Fisk. These smokestacks are 3 miles from Fisk. So once you see those, they're either will have called you or they're going to call you real soon. And there's so many planes, so you really got to pay attention and remember what color your plane is. Sound like a total knob here. Is Simventure a Pilotedge only event? It is. Simventure is a Pilotedge only event, and I'll back up a little bit and say they offer a free membership, and this is very important for people. There's a free Pilotedge membership, right? So you can sign up for, I think it's 5 hours. I'm pretty sure it's 5 hours. When I did this in 2020, I burned up those 5 hours just practicing. So you have to be aware that you don't want to go on the network for those 5 hours when you're doing that. Now, it may be that other streamers are going to do some kind of event after the official Pilotedge event, but I'm just talking about the Pilotedge event. That's all I'm talking about. You can, there's, once you've got, to get the scenery, you have to sign up for them. But there is a free service. So Pilotedge is just like VATSIM, except it costs money, and they only cover the Western U.S. at this point. They only cover the Western U.S., but they do cover every airport. I went to my airport, and they couldn't hear me, and it was quite an adventure. So here's what I was talking about, where it gets hard to see the railroad tracks because they come together on the same road, and you want to follow the railroad tracks to Fisk, and then don't mistake Highway 44 for Fisk Avenue. They're going to tell you one or the other. They're going to tell you to follow the railroad tracks to, oh, shoot, now I forget the runways. Oh, right there. Follow the railroad track to runway 279, or follow the highway, Fisk Avenue, to 3618. This one's hard because you do want to follow that. This is so big, but it's basically a straight shot. You can see the airport out here. Can people see my cursor? You can see the airport out here, and this is a straight shot to the runway. Established on half mile behind another aircraft at your same altitude, proceed inbound from Ripon. Continue to monitor Fisk approach 120.7. Do not call them. They call you near Fisk. Proceed single file directly over the railroad tracks while maintaining either 1,890 knots or 2,300 and 135 knots if unable to do 90. And I maintain it with an autopilot. I highly recommend it. Visually navigate directly over the railroad tracks. Do not navigate via GPS. That's important. I guess that's good to know. Listen very carefully to ATC. They will call you as you approach Fisk. Controllers will either call you by your aircraft type, characteristic, color. Listen up. So they're going to say red and white Cessna, rock your wings. Actually, they say red and white Cessna 3 miles from Fisk, rock your wings. Or red and white Cessna 2 miles from Fisk, rock your wings. So you've got to kind of keep track of where you are. Situational awareness is what it's called. Or they may even call you by call sign, thanks to ADS-B. So that's a new one. But they may call you by your call sign. And you put that in the software when you hook up. Verbal readbacks to ATC are not required unless ATC asks for them to ask you a question. So for people who use ATC, one moment, I need to drink. Water. For people who use ATC all the time and they're familiar with it, it's very difficult to keep your trap shut. They don't want to hear from you. There's too much going on. But they will sometimes say, like they say, Cessna 182, red and white Cessna 182, rock your wings. You don't know it's you. You have no idea. Again, Cessna 182, 2 miles from Fisk, rock your wings. You're sleeping, you're reading a book, you're watching Twitch, you're watching Scruffy Tam on Twitch. You have no idea what's going on. Then they'll say 6978, do you read? Or 6978, respond. They'll come in and they'll get your attention another way, and then you need to respond. Or they'll say, yeah, usually they'll use your call sign and they'll say, are you on radio? Something like that. It doesn't mean you messed up. Everyone's going to be watching Twitch from their plane. It just means you didn't hear them. You didn't realize you were in the sequence. They usually will be fine. I mean, they're not fine with it, but they'll keep you going. You may be asked to rock your wings to acknowledge. If told to rock your wings, ensure a significant enough rock back and forth for ATC to see. And this is difficult for me because you want to keep that altitude and airspeed and rock your wings. You don't want to go all crazy. They're going to say high wing, red, single engine over Fisk, rock your wings. Now, you will have heard this If it's slow, you will have heard this 20 times by the time you get to Fisk. If it's a slow day. If it's a fast day, you will have heard it 100 times. And that's also tough because when it comes to your turn, it's like, okay, it's you now. The wing rock serves as acknowledgement and allows ATC to keep talking. If you do not understand the ATC instructions or need clarification, request instructions on frequency. If ATC asks you a question, answer it over the radio. So this is once you, in other words, if they're talking to you and they ask you a specific question, then you get to talk to them. I'm over tracks now, trying the TBM at 90. Ooh, nice. And you can do it. TBM can run at 90. It's fun, isn't it? It is fun. If ATC asks you a question, answer over the radio. As you approach Fisk, ATC will assign you a runway transition. So that's what I was showing you in that picture a moment ago. So you're either going to get the railroad track transition to 279 or the Fisk runway to 1836. Now, I have had them ask me. I've had them say, because it was so slow, like I did it at least 4 runs the first year. And so one of the times they said, would you prefer 27 or 36? What do you want to do? So that's kind of fun when they give you a choice. Familiarize yourself with both transition ahead of time. React accordingly. Faster type aircraft can expect an instruction to descend and slow to 90 knots. As you pass overhead Fisk, ATC will switch you to tower. So this you want to have in your stack. You want to have, if you have more than one radio, you want to have the 118.5 and 126.6 in your ready to go. So I put one of them in radio 1 and one of them in radio 2. So whichever they give me, I just can switch over, and then I can switch to that frequency, and I've got the tower. Boom. There it is. Railroad track transition, runway 927. From Fisk, the railroad tracks northeast bound to Oshkosh, maintain 90 knots and 1800. Faster type aircraft who approach Fisk at 23 and 135 should begin descending to 1800 and slow to 90 knots to avoid overtaking slower traffic. Ooh, this hat's getting hot. It's 90 degrees here. What is that, 30? It's like 30 here. 31, 30, 31. It gets warm in that thing. So you transition once you get to Fisk to either the Fisk Avenue or the railroad tracks. And this is telling you how to proceed. If you're over the railroad tracks, you want to stay straight over the railroad tracks till you see the gravel pit. And if you're on the Fisk Avenue, you go the Fisk Avenue. And usually at about Highway 41, they will have told you a runway, and they will have told you to start descending there. That's what I have seen before. Same with the gravel pit. The gravel pit, you're going to want to be you're basically in the pattern once you go by the gravel pit. ATC will call out to you as you enter the pattern to the designated runway in use, pages 19 through 21. Fisk holding. Now, this is something you hope doesn't happen, but it does. I was talking about this. Ocandu was talking about how they use these lakes as a hold. So it's a VFR hold, which is really unusual. ATC at Fisk will advise on 120-point setting when holding is necessary. If ATC is not referencing anything about holding, you may disregard these procedures. So they will tell you if these are in effect, and it's the same thing. If you're in a plane that can do 90 and 1800, you hold on Green Lake at 90 and 1800. If it's Rush Lake, then you'll hold at Rush Lake. If you cannot do that speed, then you will do 2,300 at 135. Green Lake, Rush Lake holding. So that's fairly simple. It's fairly easy. 1 year, when holding advises aircraft to depart a specific holding pattern, those aircraft shall transition to the Fisk arrival in the following manner. Rush Lake hold. Rejoin railroad tracks at the southeast corner of Rush Lake and proceed northeast toward Fisk. Green Lake hold. Upon reaching the southeast corner of Green Lake, which is right up there, proceed directly to Ripon and follow the railroad tracks northeast towards Fisk. So this is like the approach that I was describing. That's Puckaway Lake. So at Green Lake, there we go. That is the most likely one, although you could get either. And here you're going to go to Ripon and start. And that's kind of where you could expect to start. the Fisk approach, but if it's busy, as it shows, it can start a lot sooner. It can start a lot way further back. Puckaway Lake hold upon reaching southwest corner of Puckaway Lake. Proceed on the transition as published toward Green Lake. So the Puckaway Lake is here before Green Lake. If you're in this hold, you're going to head towards Green Lake, and you're going to stay on the south side of Green Lake in order to go into Ripon and keep going. Turbine Warbird arrival. Now this I'm skipping. I'm skipping because if you're doing this, you're a pro, and you know what you're doing. If you're unfamiliar with Oshkosh, maybe you don't want to do the Warbird arrival. But if you do want to do it, then give it a good look. Give it a good look. I'm skipping down here. Landing at Oshkosh. A waiving has been issued, reducing arrival and departure separation standards. Now, this is the crazy thing. I hope people are having fun watching this, because it's sure fun to do, and this is one of the reasons that it is so fun. If you like VFR flying, I lost my train of thought. There are colored dots or squares on the runway. They allow ATC to land multiple aircraft at the same time at different distances. So they can land up to 3 aircraft on a runway at the same time. Generally, they don't land 6 at a time, but they have the capabilities. They do have the capabilities, and they might do it in the real world. I'm not sure. They might. You have plenty of room, so you have to really be ready to land to your dot. So you have to be good at landing right on the numbers. Is the way we practice that. Land on the numbers or land on a line. Pilots will likely be assigned a dot or square along with your landing clearance. When assigned a dot or square, pilots shall make their best effort to touch down. Pilots should be prepared for a combination of maneuvers that may include a short approach with descending turns, followed by touchdown at a point specified by ATC, which may also halfway down the runway. Use extra caution to maintain a safe airspeed throughout the approach or landing. During the event each year, Koch turns part of taxiway A into runway 36 right, 18 left, and this is really fun. So you might be asked to land on a taxiway. Thus, runway 36 becomes runway 36L, and runway 18 becomes runway 18R. The provided scenery downloaded from the Pilotedge has the correct one-way numbers for your sim, although your standard Jepson charts do not, because they will show 36L as a taxiway. Wing rocks shall only be executed when asked. Otherwise, just comply. Otherwise, just pay attention. Do what you're asked. Do what you're told. 2 separate ATC radio frequencies are used for each landing runway, departures on one frequency and arrivals on a second frequency. Occasionally, these frequencies may be worked by the same controller, but when separate, landing pilots may see aircraft departing from or crossing the landing runway, but not hear ATC communications for those, so don't worry about it. They know what they're doing. So here is runway 9. I haven't landed runway 9 yet. I guess I've never done that. This is the Warbird arrival for runway 9, and this is IFR arrivals for runway 9, and this is a Fisk approach to runway 9. So you got a white dot, a green dot, and an orange dot. Now they all look white here, but this is something you really want to remember, so that when they say, they'll tell you out here a little further where you're going to land, which dot. So you want to kind of remember what's what. Do not fly in shaded area. That's going to apply to the helicopter stuff as well. If go-around is needed, notify ATC immediately. Distances, landing distances. You have a lot of room to land in these planes. 6,179 feet. The white dot, which is the last dot, you have 4,000. After landing and when speed permits, all aircraft, even turboprops and jets, are required to exit runway 9 to the left into the grass. And if you've seen the scenery, they have people in the grass. It's really fun. There's flagmen in the grass that will tell you where to go, and they want you to keep your speed up, which is very different. So you taxi pretty fast. Taxi back for takeoff, follow the flagman who will direct you to the departure. Taxi to parking, follow the flagman until you see the signs for parking. then follow the parking signs. So this is VFR arrival runway 27. So this is one of the two that you're probably going to get. You're probably going to get 27 or you're going to get 36 right or left. So here you're coming from Fisk and you've stayed on the railroad tracks from Fisk. I hope people are still following all this. And you stay inside the gravel pit, which is actually pretty easy to see. It's big. So once you're here, you're on your downwind for runway 27. So the main difference is they'll tell you to land on one of these dots. If they tell you to land on the white dot, it's because they have two other planes that are going to land behind you on the orange dot and the green dot. That's how that works. If there's nobody behind you, most likely they'll give you plenty of room and they'll have you land on the orange dot. But it could be that they're having you land on the orange dot and there's two other planes landing ahead of you. So you can't if you land here, you could run into another plane. You want to be as close to that as possible. They're going to say on or after. I believe that's the vernacular. I can't remember, but I think it's on or after each one of these dots. And then you don't fly in here because the show's going on and there's other things. Again, if you need to go around, you want to notify ATC immediately. Texas Flyboy, I love it. I was there in 1998, slept in a tent right off the runway. That's what's so exciting about it. I mean, that's, it's crazy. It's definitely on my bucket list to do. I've got to convince the wife that it's worth going. I mean, it would be an overload. It's like a sensory overload. There is so much going on. And even with the scenery, there's a lot going on. There's a lot to look at the scenery, with the scenery. After landing, when speed permits, all aircraft, even turboprops jets, are required to exit runway 27 to the right into the grass. Same thing, you're going to exit to your right. And it's weird. You don't wait for a taxiway. Once you're slow enough to exit, you just exit, or it was 99. Nice. So what did you fly in? What did you fly in, Texas Flyboy? I need a drink. Got to ask some questions. Thank you for the follow. Is it Army Farah? Is that right? Is that even close? Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the flights. Very unusual week doing the Oshkosh. I got to be honest with people. Most of the time we're doing the low and slow out in the middle of nowhere or the helicopters, which I'm going to get to do. I found a ride in a C-172 with a stranger. Oh, nice. Shared fuel costs. That's fantastic. Yes, that's closer to the other. Okay. Good. That's nice to know. You found a shared ride. That is awesome. I learned to fly at a flight school, and so there was opportunities to go a couple of years. If you were able, I wasn't able at that time, but there was a lot of that going on where people would just go and they'd say, "Who wants to go? Who wants to go to Oshkosh this year? We're going." And if there was more, if they needed more than one plane, they probably would have found it. They probably would have figured it out. Unfortunately, the flight club, I already said flight school. The flight club is no longer around, but it still would be a possibility. Pretty good flight from here in a 172. Pretty good, like 2 days, maybe 3. So you're gonna go off into the grass as soon as you can and follow the flagman, and you're not looking for taxiways. You just jump into the grass. 18 right. Now I have to orientate myself. Oh, okay. I've never landed this one either. 18 right. This is interesting. They might do this year. The year I did it, they never landed 18 right. So 18 right is going to take you. You've come from this way, Fisk Avenue, and this is going to be your crosswind, and this is going to be your downwind. Hello? This is going to be your downwind. Okay, so by this time here, they probably would have told you a dot. They probably would have given you a dot. And again, there's no colors on this, but blue dot, pink dot, yellow dot, purple dot. They're going to give you one of those dots. It's good to have this out if you're doing it so you can see. You're excited to do the Oshkosh fly-in, but have been working when the usual group I fly with goes out, so I have to catch up and learn what I can about the approaches and whatnot. Seems pretty straightforward, pretty much like every other approach, arrival and departure. It's, yeah, but no. It's nothing like anything you've ever seen. Mainly because of the fact that there could be 100 planes in the air with you, and you have to, when you're flying VFR, you have to fly as if it was IFR in a way, because you have to keep an altitude and an airspeed, which is unusual for a VFR approach of any kind. So it's different. It's different. It's really fun. It's definitely worth doing, and would be amazing in the real life. And I think it would be easier in a real plane, honestly, for a couple of different reasons. It just, real planes are a little easier, and hopefully you'd have someone with you right next to you. I'm doing this because I'm going to do this Thursday on stream. So that's why this is partly for me. I'll be honest. It's a little bit selfish. I'm going over it again. I have never gotten this in depth with it because I kind of knew what was what. But you should have this like on your iPad or on a second screen or anywhere, somewhere you can see it. So when they tell you pink dot, if you're like me and you forgot what dot that is and what runway that is, you could just bring it up real quick and go, okay, there it is. There it is. Turn base no later than blue dot. So they want you to turn the base. Oh, the blue dot is here. So they want you to turn base before that blue dot. And so you don't get into the rest of the runways, because in the real, on the real event, who knows what's going on in these gray areas. It's all controlled, it's like controlled airspace. So they want you to be very precise, basically. And this shows you like exactly where to be for your downwind. It's not as hard as it sounds. It's just things to keep in mind. Turn base no later than the blue dot. The ATC tower can also be used as a visual reference for this point. If unable, make immediate right turn to southeast for resequencing. Do not continue past the blue dot unless advised by ATC. If a go-around is needed, notify ATC immediately. All aircraft slow down less than 30 knots, exit to the right into the grass, then make a hard right taxi northbound in the grass with a flagman, then taxi back to takeoff. So if you want to take off, you can follow the flagman right back and take off. They'll direct you. Taxi to parking, same thing. Flagman, actual, what do they call them? They're animated flagmen that will be telling you where to go. So it's kind of fun. And the thing they're doing this year that they didn't do before, again, I'm not affiliated whatsoever with this event. I'm just doing it for fun. But they are giving away prizes for every landing. I think every landing and takeoff at Osh. So if you want to just go in there and land and take off, you got to remember though, when you take off, the go-around means you're doing the Fisk approach again. That's what a go-around means at Simventure. It means you're going back and you're doing the Fisk approach. Arrival to runway 36 left right. So these are the runways where it's easier basically. So you're coming from Fisk Avenue and you're downwind. You're on the downwind when you pass the Highway 41. You're basically on downwind and you're starting to get yourself set up for a landing, and they're going to call out which dot for you to land on. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Turbine warbird arrivals could be coming from the other side. Hopefully they won't be coming from the other side at the same time, but that's where when you look at those procedures, you'll be coming in a different way because they don't match the speed of a slow air. They just don't match up. Oh God, this is one long go around. Yes, it is. It is. It's not fun. It's not fun. That's why you want to practice a few times with the scenery because, or it is fun. I mean, you get to do the approach again, but they don't just tell you to, actually I have not done it myself, but I've heard them when it's a little slower to say they can go around by going back to a certain point in the approach and not going all the way back. So it does happen that they will send you to somewhere that's not quite as far out. So it's possible. If go-around's needed, notify ATC. Do not fly northbound past the ATC tower. So the tower is right there. And on departure, if it's a go-around, if it's a go-around from this or departure, because this is the departure runway most of the time, it's 36 left, then you will be taking off and turning before the tower and going out this way. Departures are a whole nother part of it, the whole next part of it. So notify the tower immediately. Distances, these are the distances for your dots. Obviously, in a small aircraft that can go 90 at 1,800 feet, it's plenty of room. They're not going to land you short in any way. After landing, jets and props exit left into the graft no later than the blue dot. Taxi northbound flagman. Thank you for the follow. Herwaz, is it Herwaz? Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the flights. I'm at my normal break point. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for coming in. And, of course, I know this is a lot, so I understand if people just want to go back and breeze through the VOD, but I thought this might be helpful. Oh, and I don't want to go over it Thursday. So Thursday I'll be jumping in and firing up I'll be ready to do it, ready to roll. And if people want to see a dry run today, I could do that because I could get closer to Fisk and just kind of show you what you're looking at. VFR departure from Oshkosh. There is no ground control, which is kind of crazy. So you follow dynamic flagmen. That's the word I was looking for. Dynamic flagmen. I guess they have a way to change them this year. So they can place them in different places for different situations. Placed in real time by Pilotedge. They'll direct you to parking or takeoff. If you're beginning your day with a departure from Osh, which you can do, you don't have to fly the Fisk from another airport. You can start at Osh. File your flight plan, then load up at one of the 2 designated parking locations as seen here. Listen to Osh ATIS 125.9, then proceed out of the parking area and follow the flagman. So basically, just try not to run anyone over and follow the flagman. If taxiing back to departure immediately after landing, follow the flagman to the departure runway. Turn your transponder to Alt, Mode C, and squawk 1200. Be ready to depart upon reaching the hold short line. So you got to be all ready to go when you get to hold short, because when they tell you to go, they want you to go. Complete any necessary run up while taxiing or pull off to the side before you reach the runway. As you taxi, monitor the appropriate tower departure frequency. Runway 36 left and 18 left right, 118.9, etc., etc. Do not check in with the tower. They will call you when you are number 1 in line and clear you for takeoff. So that's hard to do because it's automatic, right? Hi, greetings from France. Greetings. One of our favorite pilots that flies with the flights all the time is from France, Serena. So good to have you. Welcome, welcome. I'm in Oregon, if you're wondering. I'm in U.S., Oregon. So do not check in with the tower is a hard thing to do when you're trying to take off from a towered airport. They will call you when you're ready. And a waiver has been issued allowing 2 aircraft to line up and wait side by side using both sides of the center line. So isn't that weird? They might have you line up with another plane like we do on our flights every day. Controllers may use this technique during periods of high traffic. I've not seen them use that. So they might say, Red Sky Hawk, line up and wait on the left side of the center line. Blue Bonanza, line up and wait on the right side of the center line. Readback of clearance is not required. The controller will see your plane moving, and they will know you heard it. Remain on tower frequency until you're clear of Osh Class D airspace. Runway lengths for departing. Obviously, for small aircraft, there's plenty. But then this is your departure instructions. Maintain the runway-specific instructions until clear of the Osh Class D airspace. 4.7 nautical miles, 3,300 MSL. So that's Class D for most of the U.S. Some of them are a little less or a little more, but that's usually your Class D airspace around an airport. Our airport is Class D. And these are the directions you need to take off at. So we were on, oh boy, this is a little hard to see. Runway 36 left, depart. Turn right to heading 150 degrees prior to ATC Tower. Stay at or below 1300 until clear of Class D airspace. So you're going to make a quick right, and you're going to stay low. Iceman, that's a third rate of the day. Iceman, what is going on? Rating with a party of 5. Hello and welcome. Welcome, welcome. Hello there, Boaster Boy. What is going on? How are you folks? How was your flight? I'm doing some really exciting stuff, like we always do here at the Flights, going over flight plans. Grant Lear, hello, how you doing? Nice to see you. I'm as I mentioned on stream, yes, it's a pop-up stream because I'm going to do the Simventure, which is the simulated version of Oshkosh. And you did not miss a day. No, it's okay. It is Monday, and it's an unusual time. I thought no one would be watching. This is now the third group that has come in to see what the heck is the Flights doing on a Monday. So I'm doing the Simventure Thursday, and I'm going over for how long? 6 hours? Well, I was planning on a 1.5 hour stream. I was going to stream about an hour and a half. That's out the window. I should have known better. But I'm going over this because I won't have time Thursday when I do the actual event. I want to have time to fly the Fisk approach a few times. What we're doing is a Simventure notice and going over it and going over what we do. So when you leave, so we're now all the way down to the departure. We've gone through the Fisk approach, and this is the departure from the airport for Fisk or the Warbird approach. I believe it's the same. And this tells you all your headings and altitudes you need to stay at. So this is to keep people that are overflying the Class D airspace out of your hair and you out of their hair. So you have to stay on the headings. It's not 4 miles is quick, that goes fast. It's a few blocks, but you want to do it. You want to stay in it. Now, here's the most exciting part. Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to take a break here and drink some water for a moment. Bring some music back up. Whew, it's fun. This is fun. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna pop out for just a moment, and see what is going on because this is too rad. This part is just too fun. This has not happened in the past here. Little music. Stand by. The most exciting stuff is coming up. Joel, my friend, how you doing? I'm doing great, CIA Cowboy. Doing well. Checking out the Oshkosh approaches in the sim world. Wonder how busy this will be without being on Pilotedge. Without being on Pilotedge, it depends on when you go. I think there are other events that might happen outside of Pilotedge. But the Pilotedge, the great thing about the Pilotedge one is the controllers, because they are the real thing. They are the actual controllers. So I'm going to give my throat about a minute break, and I'm going to do it with that. I'm going to take that off so it looks a little bit prettier, and I don't want to cancel. Just at least give you a picture of the simulator so you can see I really do have one. I will be back in like 2 minutes flat. 2 minutes. Didn't even think I would need a break. I thought this was going to be quick. Ooh, something is being waved. Some delicious thing is being waved in front of me. I'll be right back. That's funny. I thought I had added a mic there. I thought I added a mic to my break so I could say something in the background, but I guess not. I guess not. I messed up. Oh well. Hey, I'm back. Glad there's a few people still here. Welcome back. Welcome back. I had to get out and I had to get something refreshing to drink because it is 40 C here. It's like 40 C. Okay, maybe not. It's 94 degrees. What is that? 30? 31? 30, 31? So we are back. Sharp-eyed people will see there is a helicopter in the background here. Since there are so many people who showed up, I may have to do. Oh, is this a quiz? I may have to do a flight when I'm done here. We're almost done. Do Kosh accept IFR approaches during AirVenture? So, Captain Butters, the answer is yes in the real world. It actually says at the top of this notice the difference between the real Oshkosh and the flight sim. 42.8C is 109. Yeah, I was kind of kidding. I was being a little sarcastic. Here in Austin. I knew if I said it was 94, I would get some real temperatures. And in Austin, you guys have had heat for a while, for weeks, right? Yeah. Woo. But Captain Butters, the real world Oshkosh does indeed have IFR approaches during AirVenture. It may be at different times than the Fisk approach. I'm not 100% sure, but the Simventure is not doing any IFR approaches for this because most of the controllers, I believe, are the people who do the Fisk arrival, the ones that are doing the Simventure on Pilotedge. I think they are specifically the approaches that deal with Fisk. So there's, they have a lot of controllers for Oshkosh. They have to because there's Fisk, there's helicopter traffic, there are IFR flights, and there are warbird flights and special flights. There's, specialty flights of formation flights might come in formation, and they would know about that, and they would probably have a different procedure. And then they have the float plane base. All of this is in the scenery, which is very cool, very fun. So we're going to look at a little of the scenery as soon as I get through this. And we're almost done because we got to the point. We got to kind of the fun part that I was interested in, that I am mostly excited about. There it is. Put that back up. There we go. So this is the part that I am mostly excited about because this is Flights with Joel after all. And this is the helicopter procedures, which they didn't have before. I'll just quickly tell you the whole story. 2020, they started doing this. I had X-Plane. I did not have Microsoft Flight Simulator. And I didn't think when I saw Microsoft Flight Simulator ads that I would be able to run it. I was so amazed that I could. Anyway, so I did it in a 172. I did at least 4 runs, takeoffs, landings. It was really fun stuff. I didn't go to Fond du Lac, the towered airport, I don't think, while on the network. Oh, I was going to check. I think I'm still on the Pilotedge network. Whoops. I am. I should disconnect from that. I don't want to actually be on that if I do a group flight with you all. I don't want to do that. So here we go. Helicopters! Woohoo! Now, there's 2 things about this. One is they're allowing it, so that's good. But the downside is you can't do anything. You can't do anything. Helicopter operations occur at Pioneer Airport, located on the grounds of Kosh, just southwest of runway 927. Pilots may use either Kosh or WS-17, the helicopter grass strip, in their flight plan. So you do have to file a flight plan. The parking areas are just off to the sides of the grass strip labeled heli parking. Helicopters may fly to and from Simventure using these published procedures, but not act as tour helicopter around the grounds. That is terrible. You can't have no fun. Pilots may see other helicopters performing tours. These are flown by approved Pilotedge staff to add Simventure visual experience. Helicopter pilots do not make any radio calls, nor should helicopter pilots expect the tower to talk to them. Now, this is the cool part. If you're in a helicopter, it's way easier. However, the helicopter pilots shall monitor 118.5 in the event the tower needs to talk to them. So you have to be on tower frequency in case you're flying straight towards another aircraft. Helicopters shall not attempt to fly any of the fixed-wing procedures nor hover taxi away from Pioneer Airport. Don't even try it. They will just kick you off the if they get mad at you, they can just kick you off the network. That's all. It can happen. Obtain ATIS 125.9 prior to entering Oshkosh Class D airspace. So 5 miles or more from Oshkosh, you want to get the ATIS. Monitor Oshkosh Tower 118.5. Helicopter should enter the Kosh Class D airspace from the west, following and remaining north of Waku Avenue, pictured below at 1300 MSL. Now here, I haven't found this yet. Pictured below. So where? Oh, there. There's Waku Avenue. See, this I'm confused about. It says... a little... Whoop, where'd it go? Here it is. Following and remaining north of Waku Avenue, pictured below. Okay, so here's Waku Avenue. You're going to remain north. It must go this way. I don't understand. You're going to remain north of here, which would be up here. It's confusing, and you'll see why in a minute. Remain on the northwest side of the shopping mall. Now that I get. Remain on the northwest side of the shopping mall. Stay south of runway 927, so you don't want to get into the other traffic. Do not fly in shaded area pictured below. High volume fixed wing traffic along railroad tracks to runway 927. Other helicopter traffic operating at Pioneer Airport and operating south of, I'm sure I'm pronouncing this wrong, Woku. It's probably a native word, and I'm butchering it. Captain Butters, if weather gets terrible, what airport do Kosh send you to if weather is just local? In the simulated version, they want you to use clear skies so everyone is the same. But there are several airports around if the weather's terrible, the main one being Fond du Lac. So if Fond du Lac is also terrible, there are actually a lot of airports around the Oshkosh Airport. There's quite a few, so it would depend, I guess, on different weather. But the kind of the main airport they use as a, what's it called? A feeder airport is Fond du Lac. I bet I'm pronouncing that wrong too. So you want to follow these little lines and remain at 1,300 feet until clear of Class D airspace on your departure. High volume fixed wing aircraft, caution other helicopters, etc., etc. So basically, here's the approach. So the airports around are ready to take in a lot of traffic. Well, they must be. And I'm sure they're used to it. I am sure they're used to it, because not only if Oshkosh is socked in, which I know happens. I mean, the days have been rained out some years. I've seen where there's a day that everything shuts down. So those people on their way there had to stop somewhere. But airports, there must be a lot of airports nearby that are fairly used to a lot of planes, because all of these VFR aircraft coming in the real world, if you're going to do the Fisk approach, you're going to want to land, right? You're not going to come from Eugene, Oregon and fly for 3 days and just go for it. You're going to need to sit down before Fisk, somewhere, I would say within 100 miles. So I would imagine that the airports are pretty used to it. I mean, there are thousands of planes flying in. It's pretty crazy. They have to be used to it by now. I was trying to figure out how to get there if I wasn't flying, like how I would get there. And I still haven't quite figured that out. If I took a commercial flight, where would that take me? That's a question. Has anybody been there or just not flying? Anyway, so this is what all these instructions for the helicopters mean. This, you come in from the west. When you approach the Class D airspace, they want you to be on the west side of it, northwest side, which is over here. They want you to be at 1,300 feet. They don't mention any speed. They want you to stay to this side of the north side of the shopping mall coming in. They want you to land right here, and they want you to be on the south side of the shopping mall going out. And that's it. And listen to the tower. So that, compared to the Fisk approach, it's like, okay, all righty, we'll do that. Now, here's the stuff about Fond du Lac. This is their feeder airport, and so they have an entire arrival departure procedure for Fond du Lac. Green Bay is close, can do a commercial there. Oh, okay. So Green Bay and then get a rental car or something, or a ride. Yeah, cool. I knew there was something large close by. I mean, I wouldn't mind going there off season as well, just to see the airport and the museum there and all that kind of stuff. Next year I'm going to be going to Simventure, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do both. If I'm going to be able to do Simventure and the Oshkosh, not Simventure. Sorry, I'm not talking about Simventure. I'm talking about the other thing, the flight simulator world. The Simventure is what I'm talking about now. I'm talking about the what is it? FS. Oh gosh, I'm totally forgetting the event next year in Houston, not Austin. In Houston, June 23rd to 25th. Somebody help me out here. Come on. This is a nice iced coffee, by the way. Don't know if I mentioned that. Cheers to all of you. So now, these Fond du Lac, the feeder airport, is a towered airport. So you will need to approach it as a Class D airport, basically. So if you don't know about Class D procedures, this outlines the Class D procedures for Fond du Lac. It's going to be really busy, really, really busy. But if you want to add a level of difficulty, you can start there. You'll need to contact ground, and before you'll need to treat it like a Class D airport, which means contacting ground and getting permission to depart and things like that. And you need a flight plan for any arrival into Simventure. Another difference between Simventure in the real world is, in the real world, you don't have to have a flight plan. KMSN Madison is further south, but possible to fly there too and rent a car. Oh, sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Good information. Good things to know, because I definitely would like to try that out sometime. I'm so not used to speaking over nothing. I've had music going on my stream for 10 months. So it's very strange when I'm talking and there's nothing behind me. Okay. I'm going to see by way of loading in, I'm going to see if anyone's interested in seeing the scenery, flying along and seeing the scenery. So I'm going to load in somewhere closer. I'm a little bit further out, and I'm going to actually show the Fisk departure. Not Fist. Fisk. Fenway Crest. Now, I've had some warnings about these, but I'm gonna take a chance and say that one is okay. So I'm on the Southeast Asia server as always. There's Osh right there. Oh, someone's there already. Oh, I think somebody said they were there. Frozen is there. Frozen is at the airport. Ooh. Don't even know if they're on the same frequency. So let's see. This is Green Lake here. Let's just show people the whole departure. So I will drop in here somewhere close by. And I'm not going to do the helicopter right now. And I'm going to double check that I'm not on Pilotedge. I am not. So all communications will just be the regular. So I am, and then when I get in, I will make sure that I'm set up. And what did I say? I said I was going to fly a 182. And I think I have only tried one of the airports. I will probably go with this livery, although there's so many to choose from. Should I go with red and white, or will I be in the red and white? Oh, that one's kind of maroon. I would still say red and white, wouldn't I? Maroon. That would really throw. That would make it easier for them to identify me if and I did that. So I'm going to hop in here. I think this will work. That's a little close. So I'm going to be right by Green Lake, which is the beginning of the approach, if anyone was following along. But I'll just kind of talk through it. I won't be bringing the approach up again. You're interested in seeing it. Is this some handcrafted scenery? It is. It's handcrafted scenery. Actually, last year, I couldn't do this because I used Microsoft Flight Sim, and the scenery crashed my sim. So when I got close to Ripon, it would crash over and over, and I tried to troubleshoot it with them, and they seemed a little callous, like it couldn't possibly be them. And I've run scenery from hundreds of developers. So I am now at 13 WI. If anyone has the scenery or not, they just want to fly along, they just want to join in, Southeast Asia server, I think. Let me make sure. 13 WI. I am. I'm on my usual. Oh, yeah. Did I just fly yesterday? I'm doing this today because I have flights every other day. So, yes, it seems to be a much better this year. It still has a little bit of the look of... the scenery is free, but you do have to have a Pilotedge account. You do have to have a Pilotedge account. Let me move out of the way here. Looks like I have some wind. Just in case anyone wants to join. I'll hang out for a moment, and I'll have to turn this baby down because it is loud. Get into my sound and turn it down a smidge. Listen to that guy. It is loud. So there are some great developers that have helped. I don't know if people know about the sound problem with... that's not what I need. With Coronado, but there are a couple of different developers. One of them being on Two-Tone Murphy's Discord that have helped with the sound problem for hearing other aircraft too loud in your aircraft. All we've been able to do so far is kill it. So I was starting to answer that question. I'm sorry I got sidetracked. The scenery is free. You have to have a membership to Pilotedge, which is a paid service. They are giving out free memberships for this event. I don't know if they always do this, but they give you... a few hours free. I think it's 5 hours. So if you are into doing the Simventure, don't hop on the network until you're close. Because my first year, I burned up 4 hours studying stuff before I got on, and suddenly I was out of time. And I couldn't do. I ended up paying them for a month. Just so you know, or, if you don't mind, it's not a big expense. It's not a big expense. The only complaint I've seen about it is that it's not free, largely because VATSIM is free, but there are some differences between VATSIM and Pilotedge. I'm not going to go real deep into it. I think they're both great for different purposes. I'm not a member all the time. I'm mainly a member during these times. So I'm just hanging out here for a moment, drinking my iced coffee, seeing if anyone else pops in to... Oh, my nearest airport is not up. 13 WI, I'm pretty sure is what it is. Let me double check this here. And by the way, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for coming in. I know a lot of you folks have come in on raids, and you stuck around, and I really appreciate it. It's always nice as a small streamer to get a raid, and even nicer when it's people you know and they stick around. It's really awesome. I'm trying to find a piece of software. There it is. I'm going to open this up so I can see where I am, so I don't have to remember. And it's okay if no one joins. I'll just do it myself. Thank you. That's it. Thank you. I almost got it up at the same time as the Red Heron. The Red Heron beat me to it. Oh, so now I can see. I'm also doing this to kind of experiment with some stream stuff. I'm always experimenting. See if I can make it better. Yeah, that makes no difference. I just went from from windowed to full screen, and it doesn't make a lot of difference for the stream, which is interesting. It doesn't make a lot of difference for the stream. So there we go. Have no idea how long to sit here on a pop-up stream. And if people, I think people might just be interested in seeing how all the stuff I was talking about actually looks. I also would have the approach sitting next to me on my monitor. That's going to be hard on Thursday because I watch a lot of stuff when I'm streaming, so I may not be able to talk to chat as much because I'll kind of want to have the approach stuff over there so I can see what the heck is going on. What do you say, Mr. Red Heron? Should we get started? See what his vote is. I'm waiting for a cue. I'm waiting for an audio cue. Maybe he walked away. Maybe he didn't hear me. This is a little teeny airport. It is little teeny. Okay, thumbs up is good. Go ahead. Yeah, I was waiting for a thing. I was waiting for a thing. There we are. That's okay.
Now, what I have for your starters today is a potato-encrusted scallop with lobster foam. And we're going to top that with some nice cream fraiche.
Oh, good. I do have that on. Good. This aircraft is hard to see sometimes, so I like to use my track IR. It's hard to see. Folks will catch up if they're... yeah, exactly. It's true. It's funny that I do so many group flights that I'm not used to just taking off on my own. This airport is teeny. I mean, airport. So one thing I want to remember to do is put the altitude in, because I'm almost at the plan. I'm almost where I need to be at 1,890 knots. So I'm going to throw the altitude in beforehand, and I need to use heading if I use the autopilot at all, which I don't really need to do because it doesn't have to be that accurate just to show people what's up. But if you're using an autopilot, you'll want to use heading so you can stay over the railroad tracks. See, railroad tracks are not... Oh, look at that guy take off. Oh, that's crazy. Okay. There was something weird with my trim. This happens sometimes with my... No, it's not. It's the aircraft. That's crazy. It just popped right up. Popped right up. Now, they say they want you to approach at 3,500, do a few pattern circuits. That's a good idea. Good idea, Mark. We'll do a couple pattern circuits, hang out. Get a feel for the aircraft, which apparently I don't have. It's making sure the sim didn't put my flaps down, because a lot of times it will put your flaps down, which I don't like. How we doing here? Where did it go? Airport's so small. There it is. It's so small I can't see it. Slow it down. I'm in the 182 by Carnado. It's one of their oldest planes. 182. It's 182T, isn't it? Now that I think about it. So it's one step up from the 172. It's what a lot of people transition to after flying the 172. You have that one. Excellent. This will also test my sound fix to see if multiplayer is fixed with the sound. I'm going to turn this down just a little. I can hear it really well. Nice. I see Frozen out there. He is checking out the airport. I wonder if he's going to do some air show stuff there of some kind. Got your high performance rating in that one. Oh, no kidding. Oh, wow. Congratulations on that. Very nice. I have to go to my far aim to refresh myself on why this is a high-performance aircraft. Is it because it has adjustable prop? It seems like an awesome plane. San Savior, Senor, or is it Senor Savior? Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the flights. We were just about to look at variable pitch prop and the speed. 6-cylinder. Variable pitch prop and 6-cylinder. My flight club had one of these towards the end of my real-world training, and I never got to fly in it. But a generous owner allowed the flight club to use it and for people to rent it. So it would have been a really great thing to get into and learn about. That's why when they have it, I had this in P3D for that reason. And that was one of the first planes Coronado put out. I was like, well, I got to get that. Got to get that because I've seen it in the real world. All right, one more time around the pattern and I'm off. I will be off into the wild blue yonder. And I actually could pull back the prop a little bit. There we go. It doesn't need to be straining like that. And I'm also at 1500, so I just need a little bit of lean. Little bit of lean. After my next pass, I'm going to orient myself at the airport and head on to the Fisk approach. So I'll be heading to Green Lake. All visually, I'll just be seeing it. I can actually see it right now. That's Green Lake right there. You can see it on my GPS. I don't know why they ask you to fly at 3,500 prior to entering the approach. That seems a little high, but it's a real world safe altitude for this area. So maybe that's it. Maybe they just are, because they're partially using this to help people get ready. Other difference was the nose was heavier and it would descend faster than the 172. Oh, so you're a perfect person to ask this. You have this in the sim, you said, does it really land this short and take off this short? It seems to take off in about 100 feet and land in about 100 feet. Is that actual characteristics of the plane? I've been wondering this. So that should be Green Lake right out there. I could confirm by looking at my map. I do have my little nav maps to the side here. Except I turned off that. That's it. That is Green Lake right up there. It's actually the big lake, just to my right. So I should be a little higher and making a descent at the end of Green Lake. So at this point, when you are actually doing this arrival, you will have already listened to ATIS, so you will have figured out if there's a hold at Green Lake or at one of the other lakes. You will have found out if any of the runways are not operating, which will, give you a clue that you won't even have to bother with those. And you will have switched to the comms for the Fisk arrival. So now I'm actually at the perfectly wrong altitude because this is where the high-performance aircraft would want to be. So I want to get a little bit higher. Then I'm going to descend down with no other traffic. So you'll be hearing the Fisk at this point, and you'll know how busy it is. You'll have a really good idea. You'll know even more so by if if they have created a hold over Green Lake, or a hold at the lake before it, or a hold at the town that's 49 miles away. If they've created a hold at that town, or no, not a hold, but a waypoint, then they're really busy, really cranking, and then it'll be really fun for you. Be good stuff. So if I do this, now why are you popping up like that? Why'd you do that? Okay, that was weird. My autopilot is doing strange things today. Why did it do that? Huh. Well, I may not be able to use the autopilot. So here we go. We're going to start the approach towards Ripon. I need to be at 1,890 knots. I don't know if I can use my autopilot if it's going to be like that. Oh, I see why. I think I see why. Nope, I do not. Oh, weird. There we go. The vertical speed was set, which makes no sense. So this is a little bit tricky because this aircraft is fast. So I already have to go way back. I figured out the RPMs I need to... oh, I need heading. Haha, heading. I figured out the RPMs I need in advance to get 90. So I have to be aware of that to get that 90 knots. And before I get to Ripon, I need to be at 1,890. So I might need to descend faster, but mostly I need to slow down. Slow down, relax, be good. Be good. In IRL, it was about the same distance to the takeoff as the 172. Faster acceleration, but heavier weight, so it was about the same, which is kind of what I've heard. The major difference to me was the increased climb speed and better cruise speed. Right. So this one needs a little help with the flight model, is what I was kind of getting at. It needs a little help, because I think the 172 is pretty close, but this is not. But I kind of understand why no one has given much attention to this aircraft. As far as, oh, that was scary. Okay, that I had a little pause in the sim there. This is where it would crash last year. That little pause would be a CTD every time. And this is why I wasn't able to do this. So at this point, all I need is good eyesight and proper speed. So I'm getting lined up sooner than I need to. At this point, I would need to find a plane. So I need to be half mile behind something, some other plane. And that's hard to do. If you're more than half a mile, it's okay. You don't want to be closer than half a mile. I can already see the smokestacks, which is a good sign. I need about 1,500 to maintain 90. So as you can see, I'm at 93. I should be coming right up on 90 any second. So I want to go towards those smokestacks. This is why I have heading on, so I can be as precise as possible while hanging out here. It is I mean, what I love about these Caronado aircraft is they're beautiful. The modeling is fantastic. The sound is very loud. Still very loud with the sound. There we go. That's not so ear splitting. The 172 seems better, and the 152, yeah, the 152 is almost spot on. It's really close. I've played around with that with all the stalls and different maneuvers, and it seems to be really close. It would be great if the 172 was that close. They look softened, but not very steady level. Yeah, not very steady level. Not at all steady level. You want steady level, you need to go Kit Fox or H145. No, here we are. We are over. This is Ripon, and I don't know if you saw the towers. I'm trying to go right over these silos. Right over these silos. That is where the tracks begin. So this is the beginning of the approach. And if I'm like this, they're going to say, get over the railroad tracks. Make sure you're right over the railroad tracks. So you want like your left leg to seem like it's over the railroad tracks, depending on how your sim is set up. Mine's set up pretty good, so that should work. And also, I have a little bit of wind. Oh no, not really. 3 knots. This one acts like you have a lot of wind, even when you don't. Trying to get straight over it. At least the G1000 is getting there, because I have the updated G1000. So that's getting there. But yeah, as far as flight dynamics, it could use some work. It is not the Kodiak. Not the Kodiak, nope. That would actually be a good one to fly in here. The Kodiak would be comfortable at 90. It would have no problem at all. I didn't even think about that. All the equipment you need. Short field landing. Landing the Kodiak to a dot should be like the easiest thing in the world. So there are some people that are probably practicing their approaches. I need to look at something because I realized I need the dots. Need to bring my procedures over here. I need to know the color of the dots for this practice. Because I have a plan in mind. So orange, green, white. Okay. Orange, green, white. Oh, am I still over the runway? Am I still over the railroad tracks? Yes, I am. So that's about where I'm supposed to be. And as I was explaining an hour ago, it's really hard to tell in Microsoft Flight Simulator the difference between the railroad tracks and the road. But that white dot there, whoops, I just sped up. That's something you can't do either. That's going to mess me up if I do that. I was trying to change my heading and I pushed the throttle forward. That's not good. Now these smokestacks coming up, I'm almost to Fisk. I'm getting nervous. I'm not even flying the approach. I'm not even doing this for real. You got a chance. See you tomorrow, Red Heron. Take care. Thank you so much for popping in. Thanks so much for helping out. Always good to see you. Red Heron. Applause, applause, applause. Oh man, I'm just doing terrible at this. Okay, there we go. That should do it. Iceman is also here. That's incredible. My maintaining my speed is terrible today. It's not good. This is where the railroad tracks and the road are parallel, so it's so hard to tell what's going on. But somewhere in here, you might get called just at any point here. At any point from here, because we're almost to Fisk. We're about 3 miles from Fisk now, so you might need to rock the wings now. And this is where I really have a hard time. Release the autopilot, and you want to give it a good rock. There we go. Good, steady. Now, when I put this back on, I should be right where I was. I was close. Look, I only lost 20 feet. Gained 20 feet. That's real good. That is real good. And they're going to be saying, they would be saying, maroon and white Cessna maintain 90 knots, 1,800 feet, because I'm not there. So they'll just keep saying that. Maintain 90 knots, 1,800 feet. Our local GA in Norway are getting a new Kitfox S7 Speedster Rotex 915 IS next summer to be used for taildragger licenses. Sweet. Ooh, you guys are lucky. I actually, without Track IR, I'd have a really hard time. So you can see where the road goes to my right and the railroad tracks continue ahead towards Fisk. Now Fisk is right there, and I'm tempted to show you guys the controllers. The controllers are here. Okay, the controllers are down there. So if you really want to have some fun, find the controllers. They're in a field down there. I will do that Thursday. I will definitely get off the network and go find the controllers, because on the network I think they'll be pissed. So I've been I'm imagining I'm instructed to go runway 27, and at this point I would I don't have my radio set up, but I would switch to the tower frequency. And there is the railroad tracks right there. Boy, it's hard to see. It's hard to see. It's a little easier sometimes because you have aircraft in front of you. So I need to look off a little bit further ahead. And this little line, that's the railroad tracks right there. Yeah, we definitely have people messing around at Oshkosh. Having a good flight. Oh, what did I do? I just got off. Okay, I'm going to do this. Take the autopilot off. I might have better luck just flying it. So you kind of watch. By now you'll know who's ahead, because at Fisk you would have heard what aircraft are ahead of you. And so you kind of listen for that with the controllers. Listen to who's ahead of you and what they're doing with them. And that'll give you a good idea when they're going to call you. You can see the runway ahead. That is 927, I'm pretty sure. At this point, they might call me and tell me to get back to 1,800 feet. Wow, it's really windy here. Really windy, absolutely crazy. 1,800 feet, Mr. Flights. Let's go. Boy, this is going to be harder than I thought. Maybe I don't like this aircraft. Maybe I want to go with the 172 or the 152. 152 has 2 radios, doesn't it? Well, the Eagle one does, the upgraded one. So there's the gravel pit, dead ahead on my nose. Straight ahead on my nose is the gravel pit. And at this point, they would have just instructed everyone. Oh boy, I'm still supposed to be at 90. Don't know why. There it is. Don't know why this isn't doing what it did last time I flew it. It was better. I am all over the place. This is why I use the autopilot for this exercise. So you want to turn inside the gravel pit. So that's about now. So that gives people room. If people have to go around, they should be going well away from you. So there's the gravel pit over there. And now they would have given me a dot. So I'm going to say white dot. They gave me white dot. And they don't want you to turn in till you're down a ways. There's the green dot. There's the pink dot. There's the white dot. The white dot is the last one. So most likely they would say, go ahead and start your descent, start your landing now. Which means you pull the power. Oh, and I'm fast. Pull the power and bring it down here. I know in this aircraft it's going to get slow enough by the white dot. I'm pretty sure. Starting to put in my flaps. letting that nose come down. More flaps. All my flaps are in. They want you on or after. Uh-oh, now I forgot which. Yeah, and then you're going to exit to the right. I'm pretty certain. Is that right? I don't see the flagmen yet. Maybe they're not out until the event. A little bit of speed. There we go. Oh, stalled on the white dot. Did you hear that? So under 30, you go ahead and turn. Now, I don't want to hit the markers, but you go ahead and turn, and you go over to the taxiway. See? Isn't that awesome? Look at those taxis. Look at that. Flagmen. And these are going to be dynamic during the event, so they're going to change where they are and which way they point you. So when you come in here, you go all the way around. I'm not on the network, so I could stop at any point. I could go anywhere. There's all the people camping. Pretty sure people have a camping spot. There's a lot of planes there. Holy cow. Yeah, isn't it sweet? Isn't it sweet? I'm actually going to... I don't need to go all the way to a parking spot. I was going to jump out and do a quick drone around. This is why it's so fun. All types of planes. They still look a little bit P3D-y. So I'm not sure if they're still using those models. We all know there's some fantastic scenery models. This guy doesn't like to taxi fast. They want you to taxi fast during the event. So I'll just go over here. Park, which, yeah, I think you can do, actually. I believe they will let you do that. Park anywhere. It's very well done as far as, look at that, all the tents and everything. It is very well done as far as amount of stuff. How often do you stream? Ooh, I haven't even said that today. I stream 3 times a week. Welcome to Flights with Joel. We are I'm here 3 times a week. This is unusual. This is an extra stream. I stream helicopters on Tuesdays with Rotorsim Pilot Group. I stream Thursdays, and Thursdays is anybody's guess kind of stream. Oh, I didn't clean my plane up. Oh, flabbergasted. I also should have the transponder on standby at this point. Transponder on standby. So Thursdays is anybody's guess. I'm doing this on Thursday at 21:30 UTC. That is 2:30 Pacific time, 2:30 Pacific, and I want to put this to standby. There we go, because they don't need to be paying attention to me anymore. Let's turn everything off, except the beacon, until I get the engine off. Leave that on full. Pull that. Great checklist, huh? There we go. Engine off. It's safe. Power off. Parking brake on. And look what this does. The door opens. It actually has chocks and a whole bunch of other stuff too. So Sundays is the Sunday cruise. I think I've gotten up to Sunday now. This Thursday will be the Air Venture stream, and this stream was in order to get myself ready. So if you got in on kind of the middle and you want to check out more, check out the VOD. Really appreciate everyone coming along. I am going to drone around for a moment. I'm going to drone around the airport. Sundays at the Sunday Cruise, we are now going up the Amazon. So we're heading up the Amazon river in the Amazon. We're going to do all 4,000 miles of it. So it's Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, every week. I've been doing it for a bit now, and it's always fun. It's almost always small aircraft. And sometimes there are landing challenges. Sometimes it's just a beautiful place to fly. Every Tuesday is helicopters. Helicopters are always welcome if people want to fly helicopters. And yeah, let's have a look around here as the stream winds up. I'll just pop my face out. readjust some things. Actually, I'm going to go to something different. I'm going to go to this. There we go. Go to this. That works. Go to that and head there. And let's have a look around. Look at this place. Can't go too far up or things will start to disappear. But they have really done a job on this scenery. It's just a beautiful job. I'm going to do this same thing Thursday. A little more in depth. I'll be doing things. I'll be popping off of the Pilotedge network and doing things that they don't want me to do on the Pilotedge network, which is this. I can't fly around in the helicopter, but you can taxi around, because when you taxi from runway 27 to the taken off on runway 39, you do see the whole thing. You see all the scenery, but yeah, they have done quite a job here. So they've got all the people camping out. They've got the warbirds over here. And they have more this year, it appears, than last year. They have the porta potties, so all your needs are taken care of. They have jet row here. I mean, look at that. They have a B-17. They have helicopters, like a lot of helicopters. Every time I see a new helicopter model in the sim, I just think, okay, somebody's going to make that. That makes me think somebody's going to make that. Lots of warbirds and vintage aircraft over here. You get a lot of the same models just because, you know, it's what you got. You go with what you got. Torpedo bombers, T-6s. That looks like the PC-12s, possibly. And just rows and rows and rows of GA aircraft. It's pretty impressive. It is pretty impressive. I mean, you know, it's worth doing a free membership just to check this out. Just to check this out. And then they have the vendor area over here. So this is where all the vendors are. Not only is it's also cool for when you go. If you go to Oshkosh, you'll know it. You'll have a pretty good idea of where stuff is. I mean, it's just an airport. There's lots of signs, so it wouldn't be hard to find your way around. But, you know, it's cool. It's cool. And what I didn't do, which I was going to do, and then I failed to. Their helicopter parking is... Oh, where'd it go? I lost it. I thought it was right out here somewhere. Where you can fly in with your helicopter. It's just right out here. There it is. That's the little airport you fly into with the helicopters right there. So there's actually 3 different airports here. 4. There's 4 airports. There's the main Oshkosh. There's this little grass strip. And there is a short field takeoff and landing strip where they do competitions. Now, where did that go? That is over here somewhere. So there's a nice little stall field. Where is it? And there's all these balloons and stuff. Somewhere out here. There it is. And there's where you do your stall competitions. And yeah, they've done a really nice job. Whoops, that's a little low, huh? There we go. Right there. So there it is, my pop-up stream debrief of Oshkosh. I do hope you enjoyed it. I got 3 raids today, so please stick around. Red Baron flies. Is that Draco? It is. Yes, it is. Good eye. Good eye. I noticed that the other day when I was checking this out. That's exactly what it is. Pretty sure. Yeah. Slow that down. There we go. That one there, I think that's what you're talking about right there. That is what it looks like. It's so cool. So cool. All right. So please stick around and let's go ahead and raid another lucky streamer. Thank you so much for hanging out on the stream today, watching this surprise pop-up stream, and a big surprise for me that so many people were interested in watching it. And before I go, I'm going to thank some people right there. I'm going to thank some people because it's been so nice of everyone to come in and chat and say hello and follow. So It's now I immediately mess up on the names, on the followers' names. Just immediately. I'll start at the top. Sign survives. No, Sign Savior followed me. Thank you for the follow. Iceman rated. Iceman, thank you so much for the raid. Here was. Thank you for the follow. Army Fiera, thank you for the follow. Gunho Guy, thank you for the follow. Armin Addict, thank you for the follow. BK 12,000K, thank you for the follow. The Gigna, thank you for the follow. Two-Tone Murphy, 1,000,000 thank yous for the raid. You got the special cowboy hat treatment. I really appreciate it. Ryan Ray, thank you for the follow. Citizen for 2, thank you for the follow. Rebos, thank you for the follow. Oh Can Do, thank you for the raid. Oh yes, thank you very much. Unbelievable. And Ryan Hare, thank you for the follow. And I'm trying to get this right now. I had it right earlier, and now it's not quite right. It looks like I had it so right earlier. Maniozone, thank you for the follow, and that was everything for the day. Thank you so much for watching and following and hanging out. I hope we see you on Thursday. There's another follow. Really? So, wow. Yes, sir. Enjoy the info in flight today. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Andrew Gray, thank you for the follow, and welcome to the flights. Welcome. Hope we enjoy the next streamer. I don't know who it'll be. If you have a suggestion, you can let me know. I'm not asking people to be a subscriber or follower to do that yet. So if you have an idea, some of your friends is streaming or something, I like it to be flight sim streams, except for a very few exceptions. So if you see if there's someone you know, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just pick somebody and we will go. Captain Butters, okay. I can do that. And we will see everyone on Tuesday for Rotors and Pilot Group, or come back and watch Thursday for the actual sweaty palms and the Simventure Adventure. That's what it is. We'll see you then.
The touchdown comes at the tail end of their car.
4724. 4724, 11508, Juliet Sierra.
Hip hip.
G'day, mate.
FlightsWithJoel, thank you for the raid. Welcome everyone. Captain Butters, hello. Yes, it's a very posh voice, yes. Thank you for the raid, mate. Hope you had a good stream. Thanks for being here. We're just on descent into Custer County, South Dakota, on Pilotedge in the CJ4. Thank you so much for the raid, man. I hope you had a nice stream. Let me, I don't even think there are any mods here.
508 Juliet, there's to contact 17 south of Flagstaff, clear to the Pueblo Airport via direct to Winslow. And that is filed, maintain flight level 200.
Great, thank you very much. We're clear to the Pueblo Airport, direct to Winslow is filed, climb maintain 200, November 90, correct November 5.